Worst gig?
Worst gig was 12 minutes of just tumbleweed. I started a bit and this guy went, is this going to take long?
That is one of the...
Ran upstairs to that dressing room and just burst into tears. And Dave was like, do you want your money now? And I went, I feel really bad taking the money. But I had my hand out for the cash.
That's funny. There's a lot of stairs for JoJo Smith's apartment. Here we go, JoJo Smith, JoJo.
Let's make sure it's not any bill collectors.
JoJo Smith, long
The
time
best.
no
Look
see.
at you, not moving in, are you?
You did very well. Right, let's get it. Let's get going. JoJo Smith, lovely to see you.
And you,
I haven't seen
Steve
you for
Best.
ages.
Well, no, I haven't done stand-up since 2017.
Well, why are we doing this interview then? What the hell?
I told you that.
You did, didn't you? Shall we just cut it there? It's going to be. This is the shortest one we've done.
I might do a big comeback. You never
You should
know.
do. JoJo made me a cup of tea. Look, nice cup of tea.
Yeah.
You've got
I've just remembered my cup of tea.
It's there.
Oh, it's there. Amazing.
The Buddha's keeping it.
Are we going to edit this in or out, Frankie? Your cup
Oh,
of
this
tea.
is going in.
Is it? This is.
Yeah.
This is gold.
Yeah, in case what I have to say is a bit dull, we can have all
Yeah.
this stuff. I should have given you the Jim Jeffries mug.
Oh, Jim Jeffers.
got
So that's just to say that is the second time in our interviews that the C word has been dropped.
You know, I've got one, I can say it.
It's true. JoJo Smith, you were quite a sweary
Oh yeah.
comedian.
Well, I like swearing.
Yeah.
Or I used to. I don't really swear much anymore because I'm not getting paid anymore.
So JoJo Smith,
Yes.
JoJo Smith, comedian. You said you haven't gigged for how many years?
September the 13th, 2017 was my last gig.
Do you miss gigging?
Honestly, no. I did 27 years.
Which means, when did you start?
1993.
Where's your first gig?
First gig was at a place called the VD Clinic. Oh no, it wasn't. Sorry, it was the Hot Poles on King Street in Hammersmith.
Hot Poles?
Hot Poles,
in-
yeah. And I picked it because it was close to home if I was shit. And I thought I probably would be shit. And I was shit. But my two of my friends came with me and thought, oh, treble vodka and tonic would be a good pre-gig drink.
Yeah.
And like a fool, I drank it and went on stage, couldn't remember a word that I'd written, didn't know how to do it.
No.
I'd been a journalist, so I knew how to write a funny piece.
Yeah.
But you don't need as many words when you're saying them out loud.
No.
So I had like 3 pages of A4 typed.
So it's kind of prose.
And of course couldn't remember a bloody word because I'd never done any acting, I didn't know how to learn lines.
But you were obviously working journalist.
What had happened, I'd been in 1991 or 92, I was let go by the Standard because I got repetitive strain injury from what they used to call then the new technology.
Oh yeah.
Which was no longer an electric typewriter, it was a computer, and the ergonomics weren't great. They didn't change the desks and the chairs and all that. And I was off for a year on full pay, which was, I had a fucking great time. Just my hands were a bit shit, you know.
Yeah.
So I had like a year on full pay, that was great. And then I had a year on the dole.
Right.
And that
really?
wasn't so great. You know, I had friends in the music business and stuff, so I'd still go out to gigs and things like that. And it was actually James Brown, the Loaded guy.
Not the American James
Not,
Brown.
yeah, not him.
Yeah.
He was the last one, he was the straw that broke the camel's back because he went, you know, you're really funny, you should have a go at doing stand-up. And I went, yeah, whatever, you know. And he went, no, I'm sick, you know, I know Vic and Bob. And I went, well, I've met Vic and Bob, it doesn't mean I'm funny.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was like, well, what else am I going to do? I can't use my hands. No newspaper would have ever employed me again. Because like having, you know, the leper's cross is...
Great interview. If you're liking this interview, make sure...
Subscribe.
Well, subscribe is the big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because JoJo subscribed ages ago. #1 fan.
That's how I got on it.
Oh, yeah. Very
He's going to
supportive.
film every subscriber he gets.
Yeah, absolutely. Like and subscribe is the big one. Subscribe, and then I will come and film you in your living room. Back to the show.
The bit of material that got me going was that when I first started writing and stuff, I answered an ad to write for men's magazines because of anything, and there was all these words you couldn't use.
Really? Really? Even in a men's magazine?
Yeah, well, they were, you know,
Yeah,
it wasn't Penthouse, it was something like Razzle or one of those.
But Razzle was one of the...
Big
I don't know anything about these.
Big Jugs Monthly was one of them.
Big Jugs Monthly.
And what I used to do, I go, you know, where you're thinking you've seen me, and I used to write for men's magazines. You recognise me now? And I had a piece of black card. And I used to put it over my eyes like the reader's wife. So I was big on the gimmicks when I started.
Not like me.
No.
Did you have props when you started?
Well,
but those kind of
to
things.
do a thing about donating your eggs. If you donated your eggs, you could have plastic surgery. And I went, well, you know, I'll give half a dozen of mine. It was just an empty egg carton. God, I was shit. I can't believe it. And I remember
that's all right. That's funny.
I'd forgotten about the egg carton thing.
Yeah.
I used to do the look like Sharon from EastEnders. I milked that one for years.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And then I also stupidly I dyed my hair red.
Right.
And I was doing Bound and Gag that night.
Yeah.
But I realised after I dyed my hair that my opening bit was about looking like Sharon from EastEnders, and I was no longer blonde. And I actually had to say, I look like Sharon from EastEnders but with red hair, because it was easier to do that than try and write new material.
So best gig, have you got a best gig, JoJo Smith?
Best gig? Do you know what, my best gig was the second preview for the only 1 hour show I ever did, which was in 2016.
Oh,
I
that's
did,
not...
yeah,
so
I waited
before
all
you gave
those
up?
years. Yeah, because I was going to do another one in 2017, and I was so knackered by then, there's no way I could have done Edinburgh.
Right.
I did the first preview I didn't have a clue.
Right.
And the guy from Ted Lasso was on.
Oh,
Brett Goldstein.
Brett
Goldstein.
he was doing one
Edinburgh.
after.
Oh, Brett, yeah, great.
Even though I'd seen a million Edinburgh shows, didn't know what to do or how to do it.
Yeah.
And then the second one was Bracknell. In between the first and second previews, I got a bit more of an idea of what to do, and that was just such a good gig. Because I knew more what I was doing.
And it was your own show.
And it was my first and only hour.
That's amazing.
And I had a ball that night, and went up to Edinburgh not with massive fear. But so that was probably the best gig.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. So you've got the JoJo Smith smile. Remember that? You had a big smile. Remember?
Yeah. Well, I used to be happy. I was getting 250 quid a gig. I was very happy.
Yeah. Do you miss that? Is that the bit you miss?
What, the money?
Yeah.
No, because I'm not buying a couple of grams of coke a week, and I'm not.
Shh.
Oh, can we edit that?
Yeah. No,
yeah, and I had a handbag addiction as well.
Did you?
Oh man, because it's a fat girl thing. I think that handbags will always fit.
Could we say you were quite large?
Oh yeah, well at my peak, 22 stone. And I got a gastric bypass on the NHS.
Did you?
And lost half my body weight.
Right. Really?
So they section off a third of your stomach, and that's all you have.
Right.
Well, I thought it was a wonderful thing, obviously, because I lost 11 stone pretty quickly. Unfortunately, within 6 months of having that surgery, I was then anemic, and every other ailment has come as a result. And even the Crohn's, I said, to one of the gastroenterologists that I saw, I think the gastric bypass had something to do with it, because I stopped absorbing all the nutrients. It wasn't just iron. I still have to get iron pumped into my veins.
But you couldn't get that through food and supplements.
No, I'd had 17 years of that going on.
There's the smile. That's the JoJo smile. I remember.
I know, but all my face creases up now. I can't afford Botox anymore.
Did you have Botox?
So what happened was I had lost all the weight, and I did look like a Dali painting, like everything just. Excess skin, and I'd been working out and doing my best to get everything to bounce back, but that was probably the 7th or 8th time that I'd lost a large amount of weight and then put it back on.
Right.
So my skin wasn't as elastic as it used to be when I was, 15.
Yeah.
So my mum died. Sounds terrible. And I was left, I got my hands on a bit of money. So I had facelift, bingo wings, and my boobs done, first of all, here in this country, with the surgeon from 10 years younger. And the only reason I went to him was because I thought, well, he's done good work on the telly. I didn't want the boobs doing. I went, don't make my face look like Joan Rivers and don't make my tits look like Jordan. And he said, well, if you don't have, a boob job, he said, if I just lift them, you're going to look like a boy. And I thought, well, I don't really want to look like a boy either, you know. So I let him talk me into it. I didn't know you had to replace them every 10 years. He never told me that. And then the bottom half, I had a 360 body lift. So basically they cut me all the way around and then just pulled everything up like a pair of ties. Yeah, they just hoiked it all up.
Seriously?
And I had that done in Kuala Lumpur because it was cheaper. It was an Aussie company that you know, they sorted it all out for you. And my thighs, I had my thighs done.
Right.
And same thing, they just pulled the skin up. And when I came round from that surgery, I said, you know, how much did you remove? And there was a bucket sitting in my room, and it was all the skin they'd taken off.
Really?
And there was about £10 worth. Just all this skin.
What do they do with that?
Well, just he said, yeah, and it was gift wrapped. Like a fruit basket or something. It was wrapped in cellophane. He went, everybody gets one of these after the surgery.
But then what would you do?
But then I wasn't going to, you know, excess baggage. I wasn't going to fly that out.
Excess baggage, I like that.
Yeah,
that's
well,
joke,
in both ways I got rid of my excess baggage.
That's quite good, I like that.
Because what happened, I started reading about this thing called breast implant illness. And it was women who'd had implants and they developed all these things like lupus and fibromyalgia and all of these different symptoms that I had. And they reckoned it was the silicone in the boobs, in the implants that were causing it. Because what I did, of course, was a friend of mine said, oh, you should do a GoFundMe because it was going to cost a fortune to get them removed.
Oh, you wanted them removed, oh, right.
Yeah, NHS wouldn't do it because I'd had it done privately. It was your own fault. My friend said, oh, my mate needed a new fridge and she did a GoFundMe. And I was like, oh, I don't want to ask them. And anyway, I wrote a thing, my tits are killing me. Wrote about what I'd been going through. Within a week I had 10 grand and that's what it cost. I just remember how generous people on the circuit and people who'd seen me at gigs.
I think,
you know, some people gave a £5, somebody else gave 1,000.
Yeah.
It was just incredible.
Yeah.
And I think I was the first comedian to use that. And now, of course, somebody breaks a fingernail, they're doing a bloody GoFundMe.
Well, there's the comedians, what's it called?
The Benevolent Fund.
Benevolent
Fund,
Dave Johns. And so the Benevolent Fund is a good idea, but that's the nature of the work, is it's hard to get work sometimes.
But I compared one of the Benevolent Fund gigs and it was fantastic. I had John Bishop on the phone the day before going, have you got room for me? Can I get on the bill?
That's the pitch, one of my favourite pictures of you that I didn't put in the book, but I will put
my favourite picture.
The one you laugh, you just in complete
I've
joy.
got it up there in a frame in the kitchen.
We might take a picture of that.
Didn't want to look too vain.
Yeah. Oh, really?
That sums up the joy that I used to feel when I was performing.
Right.
You know, that I don't even know what point that was, but I've made myself laugh.
Yeah.
And it sounds incredibly selfish, given that you're being paid to make others laugh. But, you know, it's like when you make yourself laugh as well, you say something you've never heard before.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, you can't beat it, you know. That was such an amazing night. Johnny Vegas.
Jimmy Carr?
Jimmy Carr, I think. Yeah, there was like 20 comedians on, and at least 10 of them were A-list. It was just an amazing night, and I was so proud that I'd managed to bring it in right on time as a compere, you know, even considering Johnny Vegas was on the bill as well. So I think I made him go on last.
Yes, I think that's right, actually. Remember him sitting on the chair.
Then everybody else wasn't hanging around waiting.
Worst gig?
Worst gig was at one of my favourite venues, but the Bell and Banana. And in the good old days when there was 2 shows.
Upstairs, downstairs.
So I did upstairs first before the interval. 12 minutes of just tumbleweed. And I was shocked because I was like, what's the matter with you? I always do well here, why aren't you laughing?
Yeah.
And came off and had the time of the interval to kind of get myself together, went on downstairs and I started a bit and this guy went, is this going to take long?
That is one of the
that's worse than your shit, you know, show us your any of that. And I went, do you know what? No, it isn't, because I've had enough too, I'm going. And I just put Mike in the stand, ran upstairs to that dressing room and just burst into tears. And Dave was like, do you want your money now? And I went, I feel really bad taking the money. But I had my hand out for the cash.
That's funny.
And I remember thinking, well, I never got a bonus when I stormed it, so I think I've earned this. Yeah. And that's what I started to feel when I stopped, is that the characters were going.
Yeah.
The newer comics that I saw seemed to be quite safe.
They are.
You know,
I think generally.
It was geared to telly, whereas for us there was no possibility. I didn't ever think about a possibility of telly. Ironically, got a TV show 2 years in, but that was more because of my journalism.
What was a TV show?
Funny Business.
Oh yeah.
We did 42 shows. Did it for a year. Yeah, it was a magazine show about comedy. And we had all these great plans to, you know, we were going to film at the CAF, but on stage. So the comics that I interviewed that week would do a bit of the material. The first series, we went all over the place. Like Jenny Eclair was known for her nails. So we went to Super Nails and filmed it there, where we were both supposedly having manicures. And Rich Hall, they chose a place that provided like baseball gear because it was American. Yeah. I had Jimmy Jones on one of the shows.
Jimmy Jones, the comedian Jimmy Jones?
Well, he was a Southern Burning Man. And I had to, obviously, because he was racist, his jokes were racist. And I said, you know, people say your stuff's a bit racist. And he went, I ain't a racialist. And I thought, you can't say the word, so that's a clue. If I was a racialist, I wouldn't have a picture of that boy on my wall. And that boy was Frank Bruno.
Fuck.
And I said, well, you know, you might not be, but when you tell those jokes, you make it okay for everybody in the audience to say those things.
Did you say this on air?
Yeah.
On air?
Yeah. And he said, well, to be honest, it doesn't go down as well as it used to. I'm thinking of dropping all that stuff.
So, yeah. Let's just quickly do tattoos. Why tattoos? You've got lots of tattoos, JoJo. So when did you start having tattoos?
I had my first one at 21 in Elephant and Castle.
Yes.
And it was a little tiny rose on my shoulder.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, well, when I get bored with it, I don't see that part of my body. And then the next ones were the thick outlines of that.
Right.
When I was 39 to prove I wasn't mature.
Oh, so a long time, quite a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I had my 50th in India.
Yeah.
I was on this Osho ashram in Pune. And one of the sannyasins was a tattooist. And so for my 50th, I got 5 small tattoos, one for every decade. So like the Buddhist symbol behind my ear, the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha, the 3 jewels of Buddhism. I got my Om, of course, because you can't go to India and not get an Om.
Great.
And what else did I get? Oh, I got a Zen circle.
Zen circle.
Which also means no mind. No mind, the idea is that you get rid of the mind.
Yeah.
And yes, so I got those 5. And then when I'd had all that surgery, I obviously was scarred. I looked like a bloody patchwork quilt. And I was travelling quite a bit because my dad had died then, so I got my hands on the rest of the inheritance because I was small enough to wear a bikini, and I noticed people were looking at the scars, especially the ones under here from the bingo wings. And I thought, you know, I need to give them something to look at. So anywhere where I had scars, so like round here, I've got, I can't show you without showing you my bag. I don't know what you feel about that. Well, you can take a picture of the bag, got a stoma. It's not showing the poo, so... And when they cut me open in the surgery...
Is this recently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scar's still quite new.
Wowza. I do a bit where I get someone to look in the mirror, but JoJo's got a lamp mirror.
Yeah.
There we go. That's really nice. Look at us, improvising. So if you look in the mirror, what do you see?
Oh, I see an old face.
Yeah.
It's a very different face. I'm only just getting used to this face because I lost all the weight. I didn't think I was that overweight beforehand, so this feels like extreme weight loss to me. Because I've been bigger most of my life rather than smaller, mirrors are not your friend. And also when you look in the mirror, you're not looking at the whole body, but you're focusing on one thing. So like I'd be looking to make sure I hadn't got any mascara under my eye. And on purpose so that I wouldn't see anything else.
Right. It's been a fantastic interview. Let me take a selfie. JoJo Smith. I think that's one. Let me just make sure that is one. Oh yes, it's better than my camera. So JoJo Smith, it's been fantastic.
It's
lovely
been a
living
laugh,
room.
hasn't it?
Thank you for coming. Thank you for me.
Thank you
for letting me come.
No.
What's any plans for? You're not doing gigging now, so I was going to always ask anything you're doing.
No, just getting through every day now.
Do the show. Let's write a show and do it online.
Okay. Call it My Tits Are Killing Me.
It's a great title.
It'll get people clicking on it, wouldn't it, with the title like that?
Yeah.
Killer Tits of West 9.
Thanks you so much. That was a really nice shoot. I don't know who I'm going to have next, actually. Hey! What about me? I've got stories. Come on. It's fine, David. Come on. Listen, we'll do it next week. All right. Yeah. Next week. Come back next week. All right. Bye.